What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Coffee and Crypto Live. I am your host, Tim. I'm so glad to be back today. But, I mean, for those of you who watched, TShroom did a great job. All the OGs in chat, let me know what you thought, especially if you can remember the first time I ever hosted the show. And you can remember what kind of a train wreck that was. TShroom killed it, and that was his first one. I cannot wait to see a second, and then third, and then fourth, and then fifth. It's going to be phenomenal. Caleb Franzen was awesome. I think TShroom and Caleb together are a great duo. They absolutely killed it. Smay did his job. I'm loving what I'm seeing. I'm loving what I'm seeing on. Why are you laughing?
I laugh because it just sounded so like
you did your job. You were solid.
Smay did the bare minimum.
What I was about to say was your new backdrop is phenomenal. I'm loving the new NFTs out there. You've been coming a long time. It was overall, you guys. I was trying to be very uplifting, Smay, and helpful because I thought you guys did a great job. We're about to have a great show here today. Ethereum merge has finally launched. Some of you guys have been waiting for over 4 years for this day, and it is here. The question is...
Come on now. Let's go.
Thank you for that, Smay. Thank you. The question is, what do we do now? Because we've been waiting for so long, and we got so excited. I think we were expecting like fireworks and a party, and Ethereum's not really doing that much. We're going to talk about the charts here. I'm not hearing back from this morning. CVO is supposed to be joining the show today to talk about Ethereum trade setups that could be coming soon. We'll probably even get into Cardano if he gets here. If he's not able to show up today, that's completely fine. We'll still be able to go into those topics as well. But we're also going to be talking about Bitcoin because it is looking like it's not a finalized deal. But even though there are still some people betting on an 100 basis point rate hike next week, no guarantee. And it's looking like 75 is close to being a done deal. But what does that mean for Bitcoin? The dip that we took recently, is the price already baked in? Do we have a little farther to go? What is going to happen? We're going to be discussing that and a whole lot more in this show. But speaking of TShroom and Smay, who killed it yesterday, I'm going to introduce two of the greatest co-hosts and greatest fill-ins. TShroom sitting over here with the black shirt as requested. I saw that in chat yesterday. A lot of people were asking for that black shirt, so here it is.
Got the black shirt right here. And I'll even remove this guy because I'm sure you're going to do some photoshopping stuff. I'm not really sure, but there we go.
With the cool glasses too.
Photoshopping stuff.
Take my glasses off. Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in yesterday and showing so much support. I really felt loved. Really was feeling the love. So that's awesome. And we had a great merge.
It was a good merge. I also got Smay over here. I think you guys already saw him for a second because he went over to his screen. But there's Smay running the technical directing.
Namaste.
He had a little bit of a scare this morning. The stream computer crashed twice while setting stuff up. So in case some of you guys are wondering why did it take a little bit longer for the stream to get up, it's because Smay was over there trying to create a thumbnail, restart a computer, and create some sound bites that you've heard now.
Well, and make a clip.
Clip. You'll see that in Market Pulse here in just a couple of minutes what Smay was working on. But it was a fun morning. But he pulled out the W.
That's right.
And we're gonna have a great show today, guys. I'm super excited. Again, I hope I hear from CPO here soon. I always love hearing his take and seeing his charts. But we're gonna continue on with this show. We're about to move in to our Market Pulse in just a couple of minutes. But first, this is the greatest community in all of crypto, and it's because of people that have green names. Smay, why don't you read a couple of those green names for us, and we'll get on the road with the show.
Come on now.
Let's not overuse it. Let's keep it special.
Smay's got a shiny new toy.
I know. I'm going to get so many new ones, too. That just inspired me to get so many new ones. But anyways, I'd like to read green names. We have Mitch Shaw. We got Eric Brubaker. He brews and he bakes. Then we got Mitch Shaw. We got Justin Eubanks. He banks. Then we got Mike Lowry. He lowers. JoJo and Crypto JMP and Grand Roofing Incorporated. He does roofing. And we got Crypto Vet, and we got Tyler Main, and we got Grand Roofing Incorporated, and we got Mike Lowry, and we got and we got Queen, and we got Agent Gold, and we got so many great people. You are awesome, thank you, and so many great people. So shout out to you guys.
I think that would be an interesting little series that Smay reads people's names and takes a stab at what their profession is.
I think we just saw that.
Yeah. I'm talking about breaking them all down.
I have to shout out a special one indeed. Steve Shrum. Shout out to Steve Shrum.
Yeah.
And a mellow fellow.
Did he get it in there this time?
He got it in there.
Oh,
There.
nice. Excellent.
You know, also shout out to Eric Brubaker for being such a sport. I saw you absolutely obliterate his name yesterday, Smay. And you know what? All I'm going to say about that is remember when you guys used to give me such a hard time when it was my job to read names?
Yes.
It is a hard job, but that one I would have gotten. To be fair, I had a friend growing up whose last name was Brubaker, so I knew that from a mile away. But, you know, it sounds like Eric really liked it, so maybe you should do that on purpose. I don't know, Smay.
Nice.
Whew. Gosh, man, it's going to be I'm excited. I got my drink here. It's going to be a good day here. We're about to jump into my market polls. By the way, last night on Around the Blockchain, I won Around the Blockchain last night.
Hey, there you go.
My third. I had a tie win a couple weeks ago.
You may have won Around the Blockchain, but you
you are not winning the HODL trophy.
You are not the
that
winner
is
of the
definitely
HODL
coming down
trophy.
between
Yeah,
myself
but
and
I'm
Smay.
currently holding it.
Tim, what did you do? What did you do, Tim?
I won Around the Blockchain.
Come on now.
There we go. That's the use case of that one. Goodness gracious. In case anyone didn't know, every Wednesday I am going to be on Around the Blockchain. So when you don't have anything to do on Wednesday nights, go on over to BitBoy's channel and give it a little click of a like and a support of a plus Tim in chat so I can continue to win there. With that said, though, we're about to jump into our market polls. And our market polls today is brought to you by Anthony Price. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. You guys know him. You've heard of him. You love him. Those of you who don't love him probably also love giving the government money from crypto gains. But if you don't like giving the government money from crypto gains and you're confused about your crypto taxes, make sure you give Anthony Price a call. 15-minute free call. No commitment whatsoever. Check him out in the link down below. Let's go ahead and jump into that market polls, though. TShroom, take it away.
If you're listening to the sound of my voice, that can mean only one thing, and that's that you are in the market polls, baby. Let's get it. We're going to start off on the Fear and Greed Index. It is clocking in at 28. So getting a little bit, trending in this outside of the extreme fear, getting into and staying into the fear realm, which is, it may sound bad if this is your first time listening, but fear is better than extreme fear. You may have intuited that, but ultimately, things are looking a little bit more bullish as prices stabilize from this crazy volatility that we had in early September. Speaking of which, we'll be seeing probably more of that as one of the most volatile events that we can imagine is coming up. Well, I can imagine more volatile events, but on the 21st, a very important economic event to macroeconomics in the United States and globally. 21% of CME future traders are predicting a 100 basis point hike, and that was not the case a week ago. It was not even on the table that a 100 basis point hike could be on the table. And now it is 21% of them thinking that and putting their money where their mouth is with those investments in the CME future contracts. But as you can see down here, it has been kind of losing steam, but still squarely in full pretty much consensus that it's going to be 75 basis point hike on the 21st. And that is going to come from the U.S. Federal Reserve by Chairman Jerome Powell when he makes the decision on the 21st at 9. What time is it? It's usually 10 o'clock usually, or 2 o'clock. Yeah, 2 o'clock is when the decision. Yeah, it's right here.
Announcement, yeah.
Right here on my screen. 2 o'clock Eastern time is when that decision will drop, and we will more than likely we've been doing live streams to cover that, so we'll probably do that. So you'll want to stay tuned. But as of right now, these are your percentages. We're going to move along. Folks, you may not have heard, maybe you did hear, that the merge has shipped.
Come on, baby.
Yeah.
Come on now. Let's go.
I think that's great. So merge was executed yesterday, September 15th. The completed this is Ethereum.org. So they have officially said that it has shipped, and so it's really, really good. And I want Smay to go ahead and roll the clip.
We have.
It will finalize.
We have it confirmed.
And he's going to roll that.
That is so awesome.
Got it.
Come on now. Come on now. Let's go. Come on.
Wow.
Mr. F was here again.
This clip is longer than I remember. Oh, there it is. It's done.
Boom.
All right, you're on the Zoom
There
call,
you go.
dude. Hey.
Yeah.
hey.
That was not well rehearsed at all because we can't hear it. He has it plugged into OBS, so TShroom had no idea that you guys are watching that.
Hey, this was an off-the-cuff thing.
In case you were wondering where that amazing new soundbite came from.
That's where it came from.
Boom.
So that was the moment when the final proof of work block was executed, and now we are in the proof of stake era, which is what all the headlines are saying. So we're going to move into a story we were covering from yesterday, which is the short interest was skyrocketing, and now Ether futures market discount evaporates after the merge. And this is just another way of saying the shorts have evaporated. As you can see here, this may look like they've increased, but this is actually where they were and since September 15th. So this is more of like a hourly chart, and now they're going back up to 0%. So that's where they should be. The futures, unless there's some significant event like a merge, the futures should be trading 1-to-1 with the spot price of Ethereum. And if it's not, that means that there's an event coming. That means that the futures market is pricing in some kind of difference in the price in the future. And it was trading as much as 16% down most of yesterday. And so 16% discount. And so, futures traders were thinking that Ethereum would be 16% less in the future, and they were wrong. Now, there were reasons why they were taking that bet, because they were hedging against probably very large Ethereum holdings, and they didn't want to experience a bunch of loss. But the annualized rolling discount in 1 month Bitcoin futures listed on Deribit, the world's largest crypto options exchange, narrowed to 0.3 from 17.66 before the changeover went live. So I don't know if they meant Bitcoin here. I think that might be a typo that they put Bitcoin futures there, but that's interesting. Okay. Wait, I don't think the Bitcoin futures were trading that low. So that is a typo.
Yeah.
Got to get it together, CoinDesk. But yeah. All right. We're going to move along. Someone just minted an NFT of Ethereum's last proof of work block. So this is really, really interesting. Somebody had some very creative foresight, and we're gonna dive into that. So the NFT creator paid 30 ETH, roughly $50,000, to mint the NFT in the early hours of Thursday, and this took up the whole block. If you understand how blockchains work, you'll understand that this was very well executed. Someone definitely had a lot of foresight. So what was the NFT that they minted for $50,000? It was this NFT right here. This awesome JPEG, and it was considered a vanity block. I don't know exactly what a vanity block is, but so far there's been limited offers. The highest offer being 15, almost 16,000. So they're still waiting for more offers to clear that $50,000 investment that they've already put into the gas fees. But I think this is pretty cool. They were able to be responsible. It's the entire last proof of work block. I don't think it's cool enough to spend 50 grand or 60 grand on it so that they can get a little profit. But
well, it looks like it's not even selling for that. Look, it says the best offer is 10 Ethereum.
Yeah, which is 15,000. So that's what I'm saying. Like their best offer so far is like about 16K. So anyway, I mean, but I think it's cool. I think they'll probably get there. It's still a bear market after all. People are holding on to their dollars and cents very, very, very tightly, but I think in the bull market, this could potentially be worth quite a bit of money. So why don't you buy it, TShroom? Well, we'll see. All right, moving on. Meet 8 Ethereum developers who helped make the merge possible. This is not really breaking news, but this is sentimental to this major event that happened last night. And look at their beautiful faces. All of these people coming together. I don't know what this is. This is probably somebody's NFT there, but yeah.
I didn't even notice that.
That's a rough one.
Tim Biko, he's the one who his tweet was the one responsible for letting people know that it was ever going to happen. He originally said it was going to be on the 21st, right? So, but he gave the 21st of September, but he gave a good rough estimate and then helped us kind of as a news organization here kind of narrow down when we'd be covering this. But he said the merge can genuinely onboard people who are interested in Ethereum, but we're skeptics of the environmental impacts. So that's what he felt was important. Justin Drake said, I've trained myself to just expect the merge, to happen in the future, but now it's actually happening in the present. So Justin Drake. So having to really experience a change of mind there, which is pretty interesting from Justin Drake. Ben Edgington said, I've had a role to play in removing a megaton of carbon from the atmosphere every week. Again, kind of gesturing towards the environmental implications here of the ETH merge, which is pretty much, one of the bigger stories here. And then this is going to be a tough name to read. PJ said, I'm looking forward to the next phase of the Ethereum evolution. So, everybody kind of very excited about this, obviously. A lot to say. On the last one I'll read. Raul Jordan, we believe Ethereum will dominate the world of blockchain, and see it all materialize is something I truly want to witness. So Raul Jordan sharing in the excitement there. Well, we're going to transition from the ETH merge coverage, and we're going to move into some other crypto stories. But the big takeaway is the merge was successful. I was set an alarm last night to wake up so that I could watch the live stream from the Crypto Foundation, and it worked. I woke up, wasn't having a great time sleeping anyway, but I woke up and tuned in, and I basically tuned in for that clip that was shown, and they were also talking about how because yesterday we talked about the slots. They wanted to make sure that it would be a bad sign if the slots were not being filled. Well, all of the slots had been filled up to, I guess, 96%. So there were only 4% of the slots that were not being filled, which is a great sign. Anything above 90, they were considering a raging success. So that is really, really good. All right, we'll move on to our other crypto news, and the first one is the Central Bank of Argentina issues new compliance rules for digital wallets. A little bit of sour, a little bit of sweet here. You can kind of go both ways. But basically, the regulation meant that these entities will have to name customer support representatives and solve common problems in less than 10 days for their clients, the users of these exchanges. Also, the digital wallet companies will have to adopt their terms of service and conditions to fulfill requirements of the central bank regarding financial contracts. And in the same way, the companies will have to provide an easy way for users to revoke services already accepted by these products, and also to close their accounts with these companies in an easy way, a common issue cited by users. Bittersweet in the sense that, you want regulatory clarity. You want governments to issue good, solid rules that then that can unlock larger levels of investment into those cryptos. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to see. It's kind of hard. You kind of grit your teeth because you're like, what are these rules going to be? How are they actually going to play out for the crypto community? And at the end of the day, it's still the government. Every time they make a rule and pass a rule, they theoretically limit the decentralization. It's very, very important here that these, Argentina is probably going to be, in my opinion, one of the first countries that functionally runs off of Bitcoin and as their main currency. I know, obviously, that the Central African Republic and El Salvador have done that officially, but I think that those countries are developing countries, whereas Argentina still, I think it's not. I think it's considered developed. Is a much larger economy, and they do a lot more exports. So, Tim, I wanted to get your thoughts on this story.
Well, even clarifying for you, and kind of maybe asking a question, because even though it's officially legal tender, let's just start with El Salvador, that is not a requirement. They have to use it. So there are still people utilizing U.S. dollars to buy things. Is your point maybe that Argentina will be the first country to actually mass adopt using Bitcoin everywhere?
Yeah.
All the civilians?
I think it'll be the most important case study so far for an actual larger scale economy, because Argentina's economy mirrors a lot of is more similar to a larger percentage of the countries around the world, whereas El Salvador and Central African Republic, while there are other countries like them in terms of their GDP, they don't represent a large portion of large economies. I'm not saying this well, but ultimately what I'm saying is Argentina, if they can really get the ball rolling on Bitcoin, it's going to give the rest of the world a lot of good data on how that's going to roll out. And countries like Poland and countries like Australia that have, a little bit more in common with a country like Argentina than they do Central African Republic, they could potentially be more likely to go ahead and adopt Bitcoin, whether formally making it legal tender or making it, very, very easy from a governmental regulation standpoint for citizens to use it. And
even more so, I think this is another thing that we should always, and Argentina is a larger country, that's really helpful, but anytime a country, any country, even if it's small, if it's sovereign nation, when they adopt Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency as a legal tender, that's just one more reason why it's going to be very hard for governments worldwide to have harsh bans on it, because now you're starting to talk about a currency that another sovereign nation owns. You got to be. I'm not saying you can't say, hey, our country's saying we can't transact it, but you can't ban trading it and utilizing it unless you're banning forex trading and currency trading altogether.
Yeah, for sure. So this is, I'd say, overall pretty bullish, because you want regulation at this point. Early on, it would have been, it was scarier to see so much regulation, but now I feel as though the technology has matured and regulation is something we welcome more than we push away. And, you know, this is as an important time as ever to be in touch with your congressman or woman, your representative, to make sure that the laws that are being passed are in your interest, in your wallet's interest, and in your financial sovereignty's interest, for sure. Well, moving along, Tim, I'm definitely going to want your input on this one. So Canes Connection NIL program for University of Miami student athletes to integrate the Reserve Block RBX network by way of Masternode Pool and interactive NFTs. You may not understand what that means, so I'll read a little bit into that. Canes Connection, an industry-leading organization dedicated to facilitating NIL opportunities for University of Miami student athletes. They have announced that they will be integrating and utilizing the Reserve Block RBX reserveblock.io blockchain protocol for NFTs. And so what is this going to unlock for the actual athletes? Well, each participating student athlete will be able to easily create NFTs and market them directly to fans and followers simply by sharing them on their very own social media accounts. This first mover NIL program is expected to launch in October of 2022, with additional details to follow in the coming weeks. So Tim knows a hell of a lot more than I do about these NIL deals. But basically what it is, you know, college students have not been able to profit off their own likeness in anywhere near the same way that a professional athlete would be able to accept sponsorships from Nike and Gatorade and stuff like that. Well, that has changed in the college football world. And now I understand that there's athletes making millions of dollars annually from sponsorships. And now the crypto world's getting into it. So Tim, what are your thoughts on this? Is this good for crypto?
Well, I don't know how much this is going to affect crypto masses. Like, I don't know how much this will trickle into others, other than it's another sports adoption story. Getting more sports fans involved with crypto is always going to be good. Here's where it will be really helpful to these players. We talked about this before. The NFT kind of art world, I'm not saying no project's going to do well, but the amount of projects that just exploded, that when you really look at it, other than the fact that it's a photo of like an animal with some different dynamic, it really wasn't that special. This is the new, like, trading cards. This is the new sports things, especially for a team like Miami that does have millions and millions of fans worldwide. When there's a kid on the team that's special, fans are going to want to own his card. They're going to want to own his NFT. So I think this is very helpful to the University of Miami, and I'd love to see other sports teams follow this. Again, the larger the team is, the more beneficial this is going to be. The smaller the team, this is inconsequential. So I think this in and of itself is not going to be a massive story. What could be is this is the building blocks of what brings more sports fans all around the world into crypto if they are not already. That's one of the reasons why I love projects like Chili's, that is working in the crypto space to allow fans to interact more with their teams, feel like they're actually a part of it. It kind of gives you like almost a sense of ownership. And anytime you give a fan a sense of ownership, that makes them engage even more so. So I know some people are out there saying, oh, sports, I hate them. And I just want to remind you, the sport world is a massive world. And if they adopt crypto and get involved and are educated properly, that's very big for crypto.
It's very big. It's very big indeed. Well, that's going to wrap out our Market Pulse. Thank you all so much for watching. Please leave a like and consider subscribing to our channel. It's really, really good to feel the support and feel the love. And thank you so much for watching.
Well, I got some semi-bad news. I don't think that CVO is up this morning. I've been messaging him on Twitter. I love him.
He probably had a long night staying up for the merge.
Yeah, maybe he watched the merge live. I'm really interested to hear what he had to say, because I'm sure he was going to have some good charts for Ethereum, Cardano, maybe a couple of their altcoins. Just in case you guys are wondering, CVO, he's in a similar trading group with Magic Internet Money, Kagan. And Kagan more focuses on Bitcoin. CVO focuses on altcoins. Every time we get him on here, he always has a lot to show us on the charts. But I'm assuming there was a miscommunication there, and hopefully I'll get him on maybe next week. Who knows if we're going to get signed or not. I'm going to go ahead and jump on. I'm going to do technical analysis on Ethereum and stuff, but we're going to do the question of the day still. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, T-Shroom, you're jumping. You're jumping today. You gotta just.
Am I jumping? Is this when we usually do the TM?
Let things come to you.
Okay.
Trust the process. The videos are coming. We just can't hear them.
Let's go.
It's all right. We are about to do technical analysis, but TShroom is going to start us off with the question of the day.
Wow, what great timing! Well, this feels like the right time.
That was
to
smooth,
do this.
man.
10:25 Eastern Standard Time, the perfect time. Question of the day. Smay, do not go to my screen. Would you rather give up air conditioning and heating for the rest of your life, or give up the internet for the rest of your life? And I'll read that question again because you're probably in shock. Would you rather give up air conditioning and heating for the rest of your life, or give up the internet for the rest of your life? Tim, what would you do?
As long as I can move away from Florida.
Wow.
If you take that away from me, I got a really, really, really hard debate on this one. But if I can move cold, here's my theory. Not theory. I think this is facts, but I'll say it's a theory. It is easy to warm up. It is hard to cool down. So if you get me into the mountains, if you get me into a colder place, I don't run the heat in the winter. I am fine wearing layers. Give me internet all day long. I'll get rid of heat and cooling, and I'll find other ways to warm up, and I'll explore the internet and keep trading crypto. And
interesting. Smay, what you got?
I would very gladly get rid of the internet. And the problem is here, though, that I was just chewing on as Tim was talking, because I was thinking I can do basically every recreational activity I like to do without the internet. I love physical media. I watch DVDs. I go to the movie theater. I read books. So I'd be good. But the problem is money is the problem. I wouldn't be able to have online banking.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Which means, I'd still do it. I'm just gonna put that out there. I'd still go no internet, but I would probably carry a lot more cash day to day. So,
yeah, you could just have
I could
like
also,
ledgers loaded up with a certain amount of money and pay with those.
No, I think that the way you would do it is just carry a lot of cash, and then you could still have a debit card, but you would only be able to reference your bank by calling them.
Yeah.
No, so here's the deal. This does not take away being able to start a fire.
Yeah.
That's natural.
Yeah.
So anyone in chat who's like, oh, you haven't lived in, I think people saying Wisconsin, which I haven't, by the way. I'd love to. I love the cold. I went to Maine on a snowboarding trip in -5-degree weather, and I tested myself. I was like, can I do this? I went out and spent like 3 hours in shorts.
Wow.
Just a sweatshirt, two sweatshirts and shorts, and I was fine.
Not everybody.
Get me a fire, and I'm good.
Not everybody is as awesome as you are, though, Tim. So I think a lot of people are going to be going AC heat. I would give up the internet. I would give up the AC heat, though. I would not give up the internet. Sorry.
Yeah.
Then I have my explanations for that, but I don't know if I'm ready to reveal them. So we'll move on. But
good question. That was a good question, TShroom.
I might actually just go ahead and get rid of the internet, guys. See ya.
Yeah, not during the live stream.
I know, just shut everything down.
Let's go jump over to some altcoin TA. We'll do Bitcoin here in a little bit. Usually we do Bitcoin first and then trickle into the altcoins. We're going to start with altcoins and then go over towards Bitcoin. So, starting over here on Ethereum, we are going down. Since we started the question of the day, we're down $20. Not an extremely big deal. Here's what we're seeing, though, happen on Ethereum. So there's a couple different things we're going to look at here. There's some zones that are coming up. There's some thoughts I want to give you guys. But right now, on a secondary timeline, on a secondary trend, we're still setting lower lows. And what do I mean by that is we had this, lower highs. We have this high right here. We maxed out around 1,700, almost 1,800, but could not get back up towards 2,000 on Ethereum. And so therefore, at this moment, in a secondary trend, we are still moving bearish. But in the tertiary trend, we're still, even what we're seeing right now, we're setting higher highs and higher lows. You guys are going to notice that these resistance levels is climbing up. The support levels are climbing up along the same line. This is kind of putting us almost, it's broadening slightly, but I'm going to go ahead and just call that one a trading channel. Normally, these do break to the downside, and I would not be surprised. I talked about this a little bit to our office hour group on Club DeFi last night and this morning. I believe there's some conflicting things happening on the charts with Ethereum, but let's kind of play them out and how they're going. I think there's a decent chance, not a great chance, a decent chance we end up coming down to these zones, back down around 1,400, potentially maybe even down towards about 1,300 and a half, 1,360. There's a chance that this happens. I do not think that we're necessarily going lower, and I'll kind of explain why. I'll bring up the fixed range volume profile. Let's start all the way back here, and let's just look at what we have going on over the last little bit. All right, so I'm going to take down that drawing. So if I'm looking at this right now, during this whole time frame, we have created a whole new channel. Whereas other projects have kind of stayed with a low one, in the last couple of months, we started a brand new channel. And if you were to just kind of put some flat levels here that we could stay between, I'm going to put it at right in the meat of this zone right here. But you could potentially, the reason I have this box right here is it's between the last point of contention back here and then this point right here. That's what that box is coming from. But let's just go ahead and put it right about there. That is a flat level that we've been in now, and we've been hovering with, except for this little wick below here, that we've been in ever since this climb in July. Now we're peeking out back here up around 2,000. So this is a zone that could be very interesting for some sideways action. If we didn't have the triple halvening, if we didn't have the updates on Ethereum, if we didn't have the move to proof of stake, which makes it look a lot more enticing to institutions who are worried about ESG reports, you could make a good argument just on the chart alone. We could continue to bounce in this range. So what would that mean? We end up falling down here, we find support, and then we bounce back up. I will say, if we cannot hold this level, if we cannot hold this peak point right here, about 1340, 1350 it looks like, now we're talking about dropping back down to the zone that we were sitting in between June and the middle of July, down all the way to 1,200, down to 1,000. That is a chance. But with the different metrics we see going on in Ethereum, and there's a lot of them, I believe that we're going to go ahead and hold and stay up in this zone. And I made a case actually last night on Around the Blockchain that with the bullish fundamentals, I would not be surprised, despite the fact that Bitcoin will continue to trade sideways, potentially even fall, maybe even a lot of the other altcoins, with the fundamentals coming up on Ethereum, with the excitement of a 4-year weighted merge, I think there's a chance by the end of the year, Ethereum could be sitting as high as 2,600 or maybe even start pushing the $3,000 range. I'll talk about that here in just a second. But for right now, you should feel very supported by 1,400 on Ethereum. So when you guys are asking, is Ethereum something I should buy right now? I don't give financial advice, but I know looking at the charts and thinking through what's happening fundamentally, 1,400 looks pretty strong. So let's pause real quickly. Go off my chart for a second, Smay, because I was going to talk to people. What are the reasons why Ethereum should be rallying from a fundamental or news basis? Let's start with what we know. First of all, the merge finally happened. What does that come with? That comes with a triple halvening, which means that the supply just dropped 90%, and even though demand could fall, that could lead still with the drop in supply to a price increase. The second thing that we know is that right now, the most amount of shorts are opened, or maybe it's not the most number, but the highest amount of money in a short position that they're paying to bulls to stay open. It's the highest of all time. What does that mean? That is the perfect recipe for a short squeeze. Short squeezes send us to the upside. Well, that's two things. What is the third reason why Ethereum is really exciting? I kind of mentioned this a second ago on the chart. Whether you like this or not, whether you think that it needs to be a thing or not, whether you call ESG BS or whatever you want, it is a thing. Companies who don't even care themselves are very conscious of what their ESG rating is. And Ethereum just made itself the front runner for cryptocurrency for a company to utilize and adopt and stay ESG friendly. Again, it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what I think. I think ESG is a load of crap. I think it doesn't have any significance. I think it's almost like a propaganda type of thing just to force companies to follow one direction. I think it's one of the dangers of this planet and one of the ways centralized authorities can continue to pressure companies to operate the way they want them to operate. That's what I believe about it. But I gotta also live in the world, because remember this channel, we are a price analysis channel. We're trying to help you guys invest wisely. We're gonna stay and continue to be here. Our reason for being here is because of the beauty that crypto could bring the planet. But I'm not gonna ignore price action even if I disagree with the reason why. And I believe that Ethereum, for the wrong reasons, could see a price increase. And that is because it has the appearance of being environmentally friendly, that Bitcoin does not in public opinion. And so for those reasons, institutions are going to be a lot more likely, at least in this next little season, to be looking at Ethereum rather than Bitcoin. So for those three reasons, fundamentally, the fact that we do finally have the merge, the fact that we have that triple halving, the fact that we have the most amount of shorts in the space leading to potentially a short squeeze happening very soon, and the fact that to institutions which have trillions of dollars, it looks like the most appealing altcoin out there, or the most appealing crypto out there. These are all reasons that I think that we have more of a room to the upside in the upcoming months than to the downside. Let's go back to the chart real quickly and let's talk about this zone. So here's the thing. What we're watching for to break through is 2,000. If we can break through 2,000, let's back up this fixed range and let's spread out. Let's go back out to the daily chart in all reality. Let's go through the entire bull market. And I'm going to take this all the way back to the top that we had back in November. This point, if we can break through 2,000, there is just not a whole lot stopping us all the way up until about 24, right? So maybe we hesitate there for a second. Remember, my prediction of 26 to 3,000 is the end of this year. I do think there's a chance within the next 2 months or so we get up to 2,400. Maybe we wrestle with that for a second. But after that's when we climb into this little, and I'll spread it out for you guys, this little fat zone that we operated in back here between the months of January and about, let's see, we've dropped out of it in May. I think we can get back up into this zone and close the year out very, very bullish and continue that bullish momentum into early 2023 on Ethereum, all the way up pushing towards $3,000. I want to hear what chat has to say about that. I'm very open to reasons why you think that is not going to happen. However, when I'm putting all of this stuff together fundamentally and charts, that's what we're looking at, fundamentals, news, and charts. We're looking at sentiment in the space. I'm not saying we won't dip down as far as 1,400, maybe even dip down to 1,300. If we go past that, I'm willing to reopen my thoughts on what's going to happen. But with all of those fundamental aspects happening on Ethereum and even looking at the charts, I think the case for bullish momentum is stronger than the bearish. Let's go over and let's kind of change the pace of what we're discussing here. But let's pause right there. TShroom, I know you guys you're having your own opinions, but watching chat, what is chat saying right now about Ethereum? What are their thoughts? Are we mostly in agreement or disagreement with what I was going over there? It's hard to read chat while I'm going through.
Well, somebody said, mark my words, Ethereum going to 300. But
yeah, Cruz, CIT.
Hey,
listen, I love when people give different opinions. That's always great. I disagree with you. I think that there's just too much strength in the fundamentals of Ethereum. And again, I'll clarify, and I'll say it once again. I do think that when we talk about the Ethereum rally, I think it will be rallying for the wrong reasons. And maybe we'll address that later on down the road with Ethereum. But I'm not going to ignore the rise just because I don't agree with its rationale and its reason for having one. When someone said, I saw someone just say Ethereum is dumping. Ethereum is falling. Dumping is a strong word. And again, I unless we drop below 1,300, I would be very hesitant to call anything Ethereum's doing crashing. Again, we're sitting in the middle of a zone. You can go to my screen again. We're sitting in the middle of a zone right now that bottoms out closer. Again, we're looking at 1,400 more realistically, but 1,300 before. Now you're talking about a more ugly crash down towards 1,000, maybe lower. But I'm very willing to be wrong. I'm very open to changing and continue to address things if I'm wrong about this. But until we fall below those levels, I'm going to continue to hold that thought that I believe that we're going to be able to hold on to those $1,400, maybe $1,300 levels. Let's go on to Cardano. Let's talk about this a little bit. And you guys know I love Cardano, but I'm going to go ahead and just let you know, you guys can see on my chart if you're reading, there's a good chance that something bad could be happening on Cardano unless this Vassal hard fork that we're about to experience here in a week, I think a week from today is the expectation from Charles Hoskinson that the Vassal hard fork will be launched. But I'm going to just look at the charts for a second. The fundamentals, I think, can make a good argument to say that Cardano could go up. But this is a situation where the charts might be suggesting something else. So if you guys are looking at what I have drawn here, we got a zone, a flat bottom zone that we've been respecting. The bottom levels, we have a couple wicks that touch. The top level of this, candles and other wicks have come and touched very many times since May of this year. That's a flat bottom with a descending level of resistance. Again, we have a zone here where we have wicks that will come in and touch the bottoms, the middles, and the tops of this. And we are continuing to set lower highs with flat bottoms. That is a descending triangle. Descending triangles traditionally break to the downside. What you do if you're trying to trade this, let's say I didn't know anything about Vassal hard fork. All I knew was I was looking at a chart and I was going to try to make a prediction on what the price action should look like. You go to the opening of the triangle, you measure the distance, the length, and then you come to the breakout point and you go down and you just move it over. If Cardano cannot begin to rally bullish momentum, especially the fact that we're a week away from the Vasil hard fork. If the Vasil hard fork is not enough to push us to the upside and break through this descending level of resistance, 25 cents on Cardano is looking more likely day after day. And I know there's a lot of strong hands in here, but guess what? Every single time we retest these levels, every single time we come down, this zone is between 40 cents and 42 cents. Every time we go down that far, it's like a piece of concrete. Concrete is strong. But if you hit it with a hammer, you're not going to break it on the first swing. But you're going to put a little damage in it. And then you hit it with a second swing. You might not kill it, but you put a little more damage in it. The question is, how long before the concrete cracks? How long before strong-handed holders cannot handle the pressure anymore on Cardano and the price falls in? I want to clarify to anyone who loves Cardano, I am not actually at this point even predicting this is going to happen. I am not selling right now. I'm not preparing myself for 25 cents. I'm not there yet. I want to see the Vasil hard fork come and go, but I can tell you this right now. As much as I love the fundamentals of Cardano, as much as I love the longevity, I'm not going to sell my Cardano. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to buy any more of it until I actually see it break through this resistance. If we cannot do that, at least shortly after the Vasil hard fork upgrade, the likelihood of this 25-cent Cardano becomes more and more likely because of this formation. Just so you guys know, Ethereum is not creating that formation. Bitcoin is not creating that formation. You could make an argument, I guess, theoretically speaking, if you went way back on Bitcoin, you could make an argument if we don't break through 23, if we don't break through this descending level, that maybe, I started this sentence, we have 3 touches. This is not something I went and looked at earlier. I'm actually looking at this right now. You could make the argument actually on Bitcoin. Oh, that's going to be interesting. We're going to talk Bitcoin here in just a second. You could make an argument Bitcoin's doing a similar thing with a flat bottom right here around 19,000 and 17,600 or so. If we can't break through on Bitcoin here soon, there's going to be scary things there as well. Wow, okay. That threw me off, guys. Thank you for staying with me on this one. Cardano, though, is the one that has done this a lot more. We have 4 touches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bitcoin has 3. We have several flat touches. Bitcoin only has a couple. So the angle on Cardano is way stronger for the bears than it is on Bitcoin. Fundamentals can change this. It is something that's open, but if I'm just looking at charts and keeping my emotions and fundamentals out of it, Cardano does have some scary things on its charts. Let me look at the fixed volume profile as well. I'm going to go back. Let's go all the way back to the peak over here and go extend out to where we are currently. We are currently sitting right on the peak level. Right here at 46 cents is the level with the most amount of trades and exchanges happening. So that is a short-term sign of strength. But if we flip this and start heading down and retest this 42 again, that's just one more chink out of the concrete before the concrete ends up breaking. So I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. This was not, I do not want to be scaring anybody. I don't want people freaking out. This is me just helping you guys explore the charts, learn to prepare yourself wisely. There is still a lot of reasons potentially why we could be heading to the upside. And I'm going to talk about that when I come over and do Bitcoin TA here in just a second. But I didn't want to sugarcoat it and let you guys think, oh, Cardano has nothing but up to go. I have high hopes that Vasil hard fork ends up bringing us some bullish momentum, but I'm not going to ignore the technicals either. So let's go ahead and go to full screen here, Smay, and let's break that down in chat. Maybe even TShroom. I want to hear your opinion on what you're seeing / thinking from both you looking at the charts and thinking through the stories that have been developing over the last couple of months.
Yeah, Smay, what you got? What are you thinking? Or do you want to throw it to me?
I throw it to you.
Okay. I'm thinking that the macro environment headwinds here are so much more powerful than the merge. I think I just saw Caleb Franson tweet something really, really true, and of course I lost it. Don't go to my screen. But he was basically saying that there was a bifurcation between Ethereum merge event being a sell the news event or it going to the moon, and neither panned out. Why? I think it's because the people who would have made it, the whales that would have made it go to the moon, and the retail and the retail investor also, I think that they are kind of doing what Tim just said about Cardano. They're kind of waiting to see how things pan out before they add new money or they take out. So it's ultimately the market was not incentivized to buy or to sell. It was a hold event, which is really, really interesting. That's what I think. Tim, I've got a breaking news story and then an update. I know that CVO couldn't join us today, so we could potentially cover those in just a second, but I don't want to throw us off track of this train of thought.
Yeah, you said breaking. Yeah,
I can get. Oh, you want me to go into it now?
I thought you were about to jump into it. Yeah, go
Tim
ahead.
said, "Just go ahead and derail my train
There we
right away." Well, which is
Breaking
ironic
news.
because of the second story here. But the first one is that despite ban, Chinese court rules people can trade cryptos. And I've been reading into this. It came out literally, less than like 10 minutes ago, or a little more than 10 minutes ago. So get a load of this. Get a load of this, guys. The court acknowledged the current restriction on cryptocurrency trading in China, but the presiding judge pointed out that Litecoin could not be regarded as a form of payment. A quote here, according to real administrative regulations and cases, our country only denies the monetary attributes of virtual currency and prohibits its circulation as currency, but the virtual currency itself is a virtual property protected by the law, the court ruled. So my question here is, could this potentially be a thawing, kind of loophole thawing from the CCP ultimately, their judicial system, and could the Chinese be only a few decisions and a few regulatory tweaks away from being able to get back in the crypto game? I think that would be extremely big. They probably wouldn't be able to mine, and it sounds like they're not able to use it as payment, but they may be able to trade it as a forex, as just a currency to trade, like a lot of people view crypto as. So, Tim, what are your initial thoughts on this breaking news? We don't know how big of an impact. It could be a very small impact, but right now, Benzinga's playing this story, and it's caught my attention.
I think in a couple of months they'll ban it again. I think those who have been in the crypto space for a while know if you can count on one thing from China, it's that they will continue to flip-flop their decision-making on when it comes to crypto. I know CBDCs from China are coming very soon. Potentially, is this them? Or are they officially out now?
Oh, well, they've been using CBDC type things with their social credit scores for a while.
Well, but I'm talking about through cryptocurrency and through blockchain technology. Is it officially out yet?
I don't know that it's backed by blockchain, but I know that they've had similar digital currencies but I don't know that they would want to have blockchain because they couldn't control it as much as they'd like to.
I think that China is just going to continue to flip flop on what it's doing. Here's the other thing you got to remember about China. We in the United States know that we're having economic problems. China is not oblivious to it either. Now, China, I think, responds a lot more when the economic problems start to affect the state, more so than the civilians. And I think the United States is a little bit more proactive in watching how civilians are being hurt by economic woes.
Right.
But China's having some problems. And so they might be in a spot where they're looking at a lot of pain, and cryptocurrency is a great way to help solve some of those problems. So going and flip-flopping back and forth between is it legal, is it not legal, can people use it, can people not use it? They're elitists over there in China. There's a lot of elitists in China who love crypto. I mean, look at, there's Binance, the largest exchange started over there. There's still a lot of crypto advocates in the more powerful Chinese civilians. So I think this is kind of a flip-flopping thing. And so the only thing I would say with certainty is I guarantee this isn't the last time that they come out with something positive breaking for crypto, and it's not the last time that we'll see a negative headline about crypto with them restricting it in another way, if not another full-out ban.
Well, the deeper lore here could potentially be that they actually are starting to move to like maybe privileging a higher class in their country to where they're going to make it to where the rich can find a new asset class to preserve their wealth. Because Smay, if you'll go to my screen, this is the yen ETF, which it doesn't follow the currency. Don't be confused there. It's yen, and then its opposite pair is the yang. These are just ETFs that track the overall economy. I think they're kind of weighted towards tech, but overall, look at this. This is since 2011. This thing has just completely, gone down quite a bit. So 95%. It hasn't looked good. And if you compare this to the S&P or the Nasdaq, I'll just look at the QQQ. It's since 2011. Let's see, it's not even close. So you can tell the difference here. And again, that is weighted more for tech, but so is the QQQ. QQQ is the Nasdaq. So, that versus the yen, what I just had up. it's extremely, daunting. If I'm an investor in China, you're hearing tons and tons of negative news about their housing market, so that knocks out a big asset class. And then you're also hearing, you're looking into their equities market, and you're saying, yikes, I don't know that I want to go. I don't want to put my money to work there because it's just going down, down, down. So what I think is a potential, kind of thing that could happen is that they open up crypto as an asset class just so that Chinese investors don't go put their money in Europe and Asia, or Europe and the U.S. and start trading in euros and dollars again. And that could, we don't talk about currency trading too much, but that could potentially be a contributing factor to the Dixie, of why the Dixie's been getting pumped so much recently. Obviously, the Fed has more to do with that, but it's nothing to sleep on in terms of, because the Chinese investor is pretty wealthy. They have a lot of money over there, and they spend it, and they try to preserve it just like any other investor would. So that could potentially be this court ruling could potentially be the beginning of something much bigger, where they try to open up crypto trading as kind of a loophole, but then potentially they continue to run anti-crypto propaganda so that the average citizen of China is like, yeah, we don't want to mess with that stuff. But like, oh yeah, the finance guys or, rich people, they're into it because, they have all these special permissions and whatever. So they're very good with their propaganda over there. And again, this is all speculation. This could be just a flash in the pan, and this ruling gets completely smothered by the CCP and nothing happens of this. But I'm speculating that there could be a bigger story here. The other update is that as of today, the railroad and labor unions reached a tentative deal to avert a strike. TShroom, why are we talking about labor unions and railroads in a crypto YouTube channel? Well, look at this. If the unions had gone on strike tomorrow, more than 7,000 trains would have been idled, costing up to $2 billion per day. That's why it's important, guys. This would have been extremely bad for our supply chain, and they would have had to mobilize like 10,000 more semi-trucks a day, and which would contribute to the oil prices coming back up because of more competition and use. But a tentative agreement reached tonight is an important win for economy and the American people. That was a quote from our president and cyclist extraordinaire Joe Biden. You got to give our leaders credit where credit's due. I think that this would have been catastrophic, absolutely terrible if it had gone through. If they had this strike and 7,000 trains would have been idled, you wouldn't have been able to get. A lot of those trains are moving raw commodities like grain and corn and coal, and so utilities companies could have seen major structural issues. Agricultural industries could have been seeing structural issues. They couldn't find buyers because they can't get transportation. Like, this would have been really, really, really bad. And you have to give credit where credit's due. You can say what you want about our chief and cyclist extraordinaire Joe Biden, but at the end of the day, he did make the right call here. And it looks like if you care, I'll go into the details here. New contracts for these rail workers provide 24% pay increases over 5 years from 2022 through 2024, and include immediate payouts averaging $11,000 upon ratification, in addition to an extra paid day off for workers. I know that was a big point. Why is this 2020? Because this conversation between the unions and the railroad companies has been going on for more than just this last week, where it's been in the headlines. It's been going on since 2020. So big story here. This is a bullish update. I actually wouldn't be surprised if the market trades up on this a little bit. Maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow whenever this gets ratified. But this is a tentative deal, right? So they need to reach a real deal. But the market may have been pricing in. I would imagine it was in certain parts of the market that stand to lose a lot of money from that. A big amount of that, what it was at $2 billion per day. That there's going to be winners from that because people can short companies, but there's also going to be a ton of losers, and the American people are going to absolutely be one of the losers. So we really need to make sure that deal gets passed. I don't care if the Democrats, the Republicans are doing it. That needs to be sorted out. So those are our updates and our breaking news from China and from, I guess, Washington, D.C. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Let's jump back over to the charts. We're going to talk about Bitcoin here for just a second. So there's some things I want to kind of think through with you guys, just in case, though, before I make that thought. Bitcoin is dropping. Bitcoin is at 19,679. Guess what? Ethereum's sitting right below 1,500. Again, I'm telling you guys, I'm not necessarily too worried. I might even go back and show you guys the ETH chart. And I was looking at longer time frames on Ethereum when I did it earlier. I'll look at some shorter time frame stuff, maybe even help you guys explain what's going to probably be happening over the next couple of days. But right now, when it comes to Bitcoin, the reason why I'm not freaked out, in case anyone didn't know this, and anyone who was in my office hours on Club DeFi last night knows this, like, hey, yeah, Tim's not freaking out. I actually last night told them I would just not be very surprised after Bitcoin kind of hesitated around the golden pocket on Fibonacci, if it heads all the way down to 19,003, 19,381, right below 19,400, because that's the 0.786 level. Maybe it even double bottoms around 18,600. I don't think so. The question I was about to ask, I just wanted to update you guys on what the price is doing. The question I want to ask, though, is it is definitely looking like 75 basis points is going to be the announcement made next Wednesday. We'll keep you posted on if something changes, but right now 75 looks safe. Go off my screen for the rest of this, Smay, and then I'll go back to the charts here in just a second. Why is it important that we talk through and think through the fact that we have some semi-certainty about how the Fed will act next week? The reason why is because we don't wait for things to finally launch for price action to actually start happening. Watch every other announcement. Price begins to move and get volatile before announcements happen when the Fed gives their take. Why am I saying this? Because the price, now that we have a good amount of certainty that 75 is the bet, there's no more conversation about 50. The conversation is on 100. The market knows, hey, this is coming, and investors try to get out ahead of things. So smart money is preparing itself for 75 basis points. Why do I say that? Go back to my chart. When you guys are freaking out about price action, you should know that volatility will happen, but ultimately, we already know what we're going to do. We're not going to wait on it. We're going to go ahead and start preparing ourselves now. Smart money is preparing themselves right now for 75 basis points. So that's why I'm not going to be surprised if in all actuality, we knew this back here. We knew hovering around the golden pocket that this was going to happen. Could we potentially be seeing these prices fall down towards 19,391, maybe go down all the way back to 18,600? Only in anticipation of that announcement to then rally back up, because that is the expectation. The other thing about this announcement is this is a golden opportunity for Jerome Powell to be seen as a semi-hero. With people now worried more about 100 basis points than 75, he actually gets to look good for a change. This entire year, he's been operating with 25 basis points. It was his original thought of a good number, and then it seemed like he was really hawkish with 50, and then it seemed really hawkish with 75. But now that people are more worried and concerned and thinking he needs to do 100, 75 basis points continually is actually going to be a good thing. And I'll explain why. I guess go back off my screen. This is a little bit messy going back and forth, but it's okay. I want to explain the rationale as to why 75 basis points is going to probably be a staple for the ongoing future, which is good for the economy. If people are concerned about 100 basis points, and he can look good by staying lower at 75, and people accept 75. Guess what 75 is doing for us? After hitting a 9.1% inflation, then dropping all the way down to 8.5, followed by now an 8.3, so technically CPI is dropping. I know core inflation is fluctuating, but in all reality, it is kind of stagnating, hence the word we call stagflation. Stagflation is not something that you love, but in reality allows that 75 basis points every single time he issues one. He'll issue one now in September. He'll probably do another one in November, and more than likely one in December. But stagflation means he's finally kind of starting to get a handle on it with these heavier basis points. And the fact that the way that the markets and the traders are looking at this is they're just getting used to it. There's like, all right, 75 basis point increases are the new norm. It allows him to keep that level. It's really nice. It'll get him down to his level that he wants, it'll increase the level total of interest rate the way he wants it to go slowly, and there will not be a pressure to go to 100. I will tell you this right now, unless inflation begins to increase, CPI, as long as inflation on the CPI numbers begins to increase, if we start to see nines again, if we start to go above 9, that's when 100 basis points will come back into the picture. But right now, with people thinking that 100 is needed, and in all reality, we know 75 is leveling stuff out and beginning to probably get a little bit of a decrease, he's going to have all the confidence and support he needs to keep 75 as the number. Here a month ago, we still saw 75 as an aggressive, hawkish number. Now we are looking at it as dovish. This is a recipe for he finally gets to be a hero again, keep it at 75, get the haters off his back, and he'll be able to slowly but surely curb the inflation. We might see months of stagflation. We might see months of 8%, 8.5% being the norm. But guess what? If you continuously keep upgrading with 75 basis points, eventually, as long as they don't turn the money printers back on, that will eventually begin to decrease inflation. It will get us back to where we want to be. So for those reasons, I'm not afraid of a 19,300. I'm not even afraid of an 18.6 happening again and still saying there's a chance that Bitcoin could have already found its bottom. I think that Jerome Powell is loving this. I think he's watching this and saying, whew, finally I get to deliver some good news by staying dovish, because 75 is the new 25. TShroom, what do you think about that take?
Yeah, absolutely. That was what Caleb's big mantra was yesterday, is that 75 is the new 25. The market is getting delivered certainty. Every time there's a consistent 75 basis point hike, yeah, it hurts, but the market is getting certainty, and the market loves certainty. And one thing you might be asking, why are you talking about the Federal Reserve? Why are you talking about inflation? How does that affect crypto? Well, Smay, if you go over to my chart really quick. So another thing I'm seeing in chat is everybody's like, whoa, Ethereum's breaking some major support, and I've got that pulled up here. It is breaking down. It's at 1490 right now, 1490. But I want to show you, I want to compare this to Google. Look at what Google's doing right now. It's breaking through support in a very, very similar way. So Ethereum and Google are trading, in terms of uptrending levels of support, they're trading very, very similarly. They're breaking through here on higher volume, and that is because we are running up. The merge of success, right? So everybody was kind of waiting for that, and now the story, all eyes are fixed on the 21st, and so this is the volatility that we've been expecting from September. It's coming in now. We've already had a decent amount of it earlier in the month, right? But now we're going to be getting some more of it, and ultimately, if you're really smart and you've been through many bear markets, you're just seeing this as another time to get a good position. And maybe if you're a day trader, you're looking at this, licking your lips, thinking, okay, it's going to come back up X amount, and I'm gonna sell there and profit. If you're new to crypto, you might be thinking, oh my gosh, the $400 that I put in, I'm going to lose it all, and so you're going to panic sell, and that $400 is going to turn into $350, right? So and I would say, rethink that selling for a loss, and rethink why you're not convicted enough to hold that position. So that's kind of what I think. But on the 21st, we're going to get a decision, and it's almost certainly going to be 75. And yes, Jerome is going to start to be able to look like the good guy, because 75 is the new 25. But the real question is going to be the rhetoric. Is what does he say? Does he give any indication of when they might start their monetary reversal, and that 75 actually come down to 50? Whether it's going to happen in December, whether it's going to happen in March, we don't know. But that when that happens, it's going to be very, very, very bullish, unless some other macro or political event is going on. So that's my take, Tim.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. I think that people need to remain calm. Remember the longevity. We get too locked into short time frame things and what the price action could look like over the next 2 days, and then freak out. And don't get me wrong, there are still signs that could take us down lower. There are things on the charts that could take us down lower. Go to my screen, Smay. I told you guys I kind of was more looking at this as we were on the show today. This is not a resistance level I had drawn before. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. The fact that it looks like we potentially are forming a descending triangle on Bitcoin, similar to what we have on Cardano. But remember, I told you guys the fundamentals on Cardano could continue to give us some support to go back up. With Bitcoin, you got some other things. You don't want to just look at one indicator, because yes, this is a descending triangle, but there's some other things. On the daily chart, we technically have our bullish RSI divergence we've been waiting on for a while. We also are getting some really, really strong support right there, as well as the fact of, man, we've lived through a lot of pain on Bitcoin. This morning I was discussing this with some people. This fall that we had back here in May, the catalyst was because we had that whole Terra Luna shabacle, where Luna the bottom dropped out. It just died, and the price had to crash. And then we began to have exchanges have problems. Several exchanges went down. We had some hedge funds go down, and that's what made us crash down here. At the moment, we know recession is here. We've known recession was coming for a long time now. The thought of recession, the thought of high inflation is not going to push us lower than 17,600. It's going to have to be some form of a new catalyst. But here's what I can tell you. If I was a whale who wanted to manipulate retail investors, I would start spitting the narrative, oh, this is disastrous. Let me look for some evidence to find we're going down to 9,000, guys. We're going down to 10,000. We're going to 12,000. And don't get me wrong. I'm going to prepare myself. I'm going to have a plan put in place for a disaster scenario. But just because I'll have a plan put in place does not mean that's where I think it's going to happen. I actually am starting more and more when I'm thinking through it and wrestling through the details, finding myself in the camp of saying I actually think 17.6 was the bottom. Are we going to double bottom? Potentially. Are we going to not necessarily get all the way down there and get faked out? Potentially. I think there's a lot put in place that people want to disregard to say that Bitcoin actually has a chance of remaining boring, and boring sometimes is bad, but sometimes is good. And in reality, break through this triangle similar to Cardano and then start this process of just really boring action. Maybe we're bouncing at 25. Maybe we get some up to 30. I think that we could start a really boring sideways action all the way out potentially to May of 2023. One of the reasons for this, just so you guys know, I think, when we're looking at past bear markets, this will be one of the last things I say about Bitcoin. When we're looking at past bear markets, a lot of people, I think, believe that we're kind of more sitting in a bear market similar to what we had in 2018, where we hovered around for a while and then we had a really harsh dip. We ended up dipping again another, 48%, almost 50% before we finally found bottom. That's absolutely potentially probable. It could happen. But what I'm looking at more recently, and what I'm thinking I'm in more of a boat for, I think we're going to see a similar bear market to what we had back in 2015. I think we had this big bottom, and then we moved sideways for a very long time. Let's just just show how long this was. We moved sideways and boring and didn't get any positive action for almost 250 days. All right, guess what also was similar about that date? That date was about 266 days away from the halving. Currently, we're sitting probably about 500 and some change away. I think that there's a good chance we continue to move boring all the way, definitely throughout the rest of this year in Bitcoin, and maybe into maybe as far as May, before we actually start to see some success and starts to see some bullish activity. But that does not mean we have to set a new bottom. In fact, I actually think this could be a good argument to say we're just going to continue to move sideways and get people's hopes up that the bottom is going to get deeper, or other people's hopes up that the bull rally is here to come, and it'll be more time and more of an excuse for whales and institutions, for smart money investors to continue to gobble supply.
Was it Thanksgiving?
It was.
Making me hungry.
The more I'm looking at these charts, and the more I'm looking at the narrative in the space, and the more I'm looking at the FUD in the market, with people almost swearing convincedly that we're going down as far as 11,000, if not lower, it's really striking me after the conversations I've had with people who've been in the space longer than me, after the conversations, or even the charts that I'm looking at when I'm going back in history. It's just striking me as a great fake out situation where they're gonna convince people. They're going to convince retail investors that we are nowhere close to the bottom, and it's going to have that temptation to get out of your position and say, well, guess what? Even if I sell on the loss, even if I sell somewhere here on 17.6, 18,000, if I can buy in at 11,000, I'll have so much more supply. It's such a great plan. It's such a great idea. And meanwhile, they're going to say, you know what, I'm okay if this investment doesn't go up for a couple of years. I'm going to gobble as much Bitcoin supply as humanly possible. And the best way to do that, again, remember, when you're investing and trading, you're taking that money from someone else. A smart money person takes money from the weak, from the retail, from the people that don't really understand what's going on, for the people that just read an article and then make their trade investment based off of whether that was a FUD or FOMO narrative. It's what happens in the history, and history just repeats itself. I'm continuing to hold. Again, is there bearish things out there? Absolutely there is. Am I going to prepare myself for a disaster scenario? Absolutely I am. But in the same way that people were so certain about 75K and 100K here over a year ago for the bull rally. I think there's going to be a lot of people certain about 11,000 who miss it, and they're wrong. And they miss the boat. And when retail misses the boat, it does not come back. It's the whales. When they miss the boat, it comes back. I want to know what you guys think about that thought. I'm going to continue to explore that with you guys throughout the rest of this bear market. But I want to know what you guys think about that. Even if you disagree with me, if you love the fact that there is some stories going on that keep this interesting, if you're loving coffee and crypto, even if you disagree with me, you love getting to hear my take, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe. You know, I went around the blockchain last night. Another thing that I want to urge every single one of you guys, I've been thinking hard about this. Whether you like a channel or not, and I'm not just talking about me, even those of you who are like, man, I love coffee and crypto, but I hate this guy, and I hate that guy, and I want to challenge you guys to do something. Put aside your personal feelings about a person and think about the longevity of what you want to get accomplished.
That's good.
Here's a question I want to ask you guys. Do you want crypto to succeed? Do you want the masses to adopt crypto? Do you want people to have their lives changed with cryptocurrency? If your answer to that question is yes, I don't care who the person is, what their beliefs are, what their opinions are. I don't care if you disagree with them 110%. Like their videos, watch them, comment on them, disagree. Tell them in the comments you disagree. Tell them why they're wrong. Subscribe to their channel. Because guess what we're fighting right now?
Come on
YouTube
now.
and Google do not like crypto. They don't like Google. There's a story happened last night. Google wants to get involved, but they are doing everything they can to censor cryptocurrency education. There's a lot of haters out there with Ben. We haven't really talked about it much. Just so you guys know, do I agree with everything Ben ever says, BitBoy? No, I don't agree with everything he says. But I like Ben. I think Ben has I think he wants to see others succeed. Would I do everything he's ever done? No, but that's not the point. Ben has been one of the most helpful, most uplifting people in the space to other influencers, because what he understands, that I want all of you guys to understand, is that we keep fighting each other as if we are enemies. If you like Dogecoin or Solana, or you like Bitcoin or Cardano, and we act like we're enemies, we're not. We want to see the world adopt crypto. And the best way to do that is to support one another and agree that there's a common enemy, and it's not us. The common enemy is centralized authority and power.
Come on now.
That is the common enemy. So how can you spit back at YouTube and Twitter and Google and all these places that seem to suppress cryptocurrency? You can go out there and subscribe to every cryptocurrency influencer you can. You can go in and like their videos. Whether you actually liked the video or not, like the video. Comment, subscribe, show support for crypto content. Whether you agree or disagree, support the content so that YouTube, Google, they cannot, they are centralized, but they understand when they have a lot of pressure. They understand when the people are upset, when people want something. The more and more that you do for all of the crypto channels, like them or not, the more it screams at YouTube, Google, Twitter, you name it, crypto's here to stay. Stop censoring these people. That's what I have for you guys. Let's go ahead and let's engage with chat a little bit. I know we had some super chats from earlier, and let's go ahead and read those, and then we'll wrap it out here very soon. Today's a longer show than normal, but I love it.
I have one super chat, and that one super chat is from Eric Wallen. Said, "So where are Ethereum gas fees actually coming from now?"
Yeah, so I saw that earlier. With the move of proof to work to proof to stake, I think a lot of people thought gas fees are going away. It's the same thing. I'm going to read you a direct quote that someone else asked this question, and I don't know who, but someone from the Ethereum Foundation answered this. They said, gas fees are a product of network demand relative to the network's capacity. The merge depreciates the use of proof of work, transitioning to proof of stake for consensus, but does not significantly change any parameters that directly influence network capacity or throughput. So gas fees were never about proof of work. It was about activity and throughput, and they're not. That's why I've told you guys, like Ethereum, it's really good. I still think we're having bullish price action, but fundamentally Ethereum, other than a move to proof of stake, is not increasing its capacity. Therefore, because its capacity isn't getting any better, the gas fees won't get any better.
That's it. That's all we have.
I thought I saw another one earlier. Maybe we asked it. I think your machine might be lying to you, Smay.
I did not.
I could have sworn we had another one really early in the show.
Don't trust the machine.
This is that computer's on the fritz.
I'm pretty sure I didn't see any at the beginning of the stream.
It's all right.
Pretty sure.
It's all right. I want to remind, and I think I'm going to announce to people, because we announced it to our members the other day. Where is it? I actually got to go and get the link. We're going to do this new thing.
Uh-oh.
We want to engage with you guys. This is a big announcement, by the way. We want to engage even more with community. I told you guys in a show last week, we've had a lot of conversations, and anytime we make any updates and any improvements to the show and our business, it is always going to funnel through the question, how does this engage and create deeper relationships with our community? So, update that we are coming. I'm stalling because I'm not finding the link. I got to go to my chat. We are going to find one other way to communicate with you guys coming very soon, and that is through you guys having the ability to submit video questions. You actually get to film yourself, record yourself, asking us questions that we will then select them and play them on camera and answer them. So yes, we have super chats, and yes, we can read chat as much as we can, but we want to engage you guys even more. We want to see your faces. I mean, I have so many names in chat that I wish I had a face to go with the name. So I want to encourage you very, very strongly. Please, 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 please submit some video questions to this link I just put in chat right there. Coffee and crypto submissions at gmail.com to appear on our channel, to ask us questions and get us to know you even better. You guys get to see us every single day. That is only one way. I want to see you. I want to do more. In the future, we're going to have meetups in person, but this is the first step of that. I want to see more faces and know more people, because I can tell you this right now. I would consider this channel and this company a big, fat, slopping failure if I get rich, but I don't somehow find a way to encourage and love on and support you guys, and you guys don't feel like you're a part of this. Like,
absolutely.
Even if I'm wealthy and Bitcoin goes to $10 billion,
whoa,
if you don't feel like you have a space that you belong and that you can be loved on and cared for and be a part of something big, then the whole point of this channel is a failure. So please engage with us. Don't just come in and watch every single day. I mean, I love it when you guys watch. I love when you hit subscribe. I love when you push the like button. But I want to interact with you. I want to see you. I want to hear you. And so, with that said,
come on now, let's go.
There we go. My new favorite soundbite. We love you guys. We are here for you. Come and tune in tomorrow, where we're going to have Forrest from Crypto Stackers on the show. Really exciting to hear his take. We'll talk more Ethereum. We'll keep updating you guys on what's happening with the price. But right now, I want you guys to go away from the show. Do not be filled with fear. Good, green, bullish days are ahead of us, but continue to plan for yourself, for your future, so that you can accomplish that financial sovereignty we talk about every single show. See you in the next one. Peace.
Oh!